What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're back with another Dynasty Buys video. So what we like to do is go through a player per each position. Hey, what quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end right now during training camp that you should be actively trying to buy on your Dynasty team that could help you. Now, this could be contender, rebuilder. I'll kind of go through it, all of the above, kind of diving into what I like about each guy. Looking at player trades, actual player trades. We're going to be diving into player value and really, hey, what's going on in Dynasty leagues out there and help you win your leagues. That's the whole point of this. So we'll start with the quarterback position. Talking about boy Bryce Young again. I'm just going to keep talking about this guy because I think he's still getting undervalued, right? So when you see that, I mean, his value is continuing to dip, and all we're still hearing is positive things out of training camp for the Panthers. Like Dave Canales is talking about, hey, Bryce is really stepping up. We're seeing great throws from Bryce that he didn't really necessarily make last year. All that to me points out that, hey, we should be valuing this guy a little higher. I know they didn't have a great season last year when you're looking at the numbers overall, but this is an entirely different offense. I kind of equate it to kind of what Trevor Lawrence had his second year, right? Like, and with, Urban Meyer being gone, now that we have a new coaching staff there, Frank Reich is gone, right? Now we have this new coaching staff, young staff that knows how to build around him. I'm still buying there. I really like that. I think Deontay Johnson, Xavier Leggett is really going to help. I think their emphasis on really kind of rebuilding that offensive line is going to help. I think that running back room is going to be deep. Like, there's a lot of things I like about Bryce where he can really, as a dynasty quarterback, shore up a dynasty QB2 spot. I don't think that you're looking at Bryce as ever being that QB1. So obviously, if you draft him 101 in your Superflex drafts, yeah, you're not going to get that value back. But I do think that if you need a quarterback 2, if you're sitting there with an older QB2 and you're looking for that QB2/3 that could have some value, I think it's Bryce. I think that's a perfect out there and a perfect target to get there. And when you're looking at just kind of what he's going with, QB20, QB18 here at the TDR, here's some deals out there that went for him. There's 12-team Superflex deals out there. Bryce Young for James Cook. So you're thinking a running back, aging-ish running back. What does that offense look like? And then for Bryce Young from a Superflex, that's pretty cheap for a Superflex quarterback there. Young and Kirk Cousins. That's a very classic. Hey, I'm going to flip Cousins for a piece that I think can get better. I'm rebuilding. I take the shot there. I do think you can give a little bit more on the Bryce side, but I don't hate the idea of that trade. Bryce for a 26 first. So 2 years out, you're going to grab a first there. There's risk involved in this. Just giving up your first for Bryce is not necessarily something I would love to do. I'd love to just do a second and a pick, but you might not be able to based on market value and what he's going for. And you're in your micro league, right? Micro transaction, micro value there. And then Bryce for Deshaun Watson. I don't hate that deal. I actually like Bryce on the upside. Bryce in a second for Will Levis. I know people are really on the Will Levis train, but I see him and Bryce pretty close to the same. So if I can get an extra pick, shoot, I'll take the extra pick there. And then Bryce, AD Mitchell for Jared Goff. Again, this is a risky trade because I do think Jared Goff is a pretty solid QB2. If I can get a piece like AD Mitchell, though, with Bryce Young and take the risk there, I don't hate it. I want more, though. I want a better piece than AD Mitchell there. But this just gives you an idea of kind of where his value is. But there's a lot of deals I would do out there for Bryce if I'm looking for that QB2. Now, running back spot, a guy that I really, really like right now, Brian Robinson out there with the Commanders. It's interesting to me because I think they added Austin Eckler, which really kind of shook his value down. And I don't know if we should, right? I think when you're looking at Eckler's fantasy output, what he's been able to do, the injuries, I think Brian Robinson's kind of the guy. He's running back 21 last year overall. I think in PPR, he has some sneaky upside there. I understand the volume concerns with Eckler being there, but I think Brian's their running back 1, right? And if you're looking for that kind of cheaper, has a kind of a viable path to getting that volume that you'd want to see. I understand Eckler's going to be involved, but I mean, I'm kind of in on the value and the price, right? So when you're looking at overall, running back 28 and keep trade cut, he's running back 24 for us. And just look at this. Like when you're going overall, like Brian Robinson, Zach Charbonnet for a second. I like both those pieces for a second. If I'm a contender and I want to kind of shore up that running back room and I know I'm going for it, I'm a top 4 team, I'm okay with that. Brian Robinson for just a straight up second. Brian Robinson for Dalton Schultz. Again, this isn't tied in premium settings. This is just a straight up league. I'll take the upside of Brian Robinson at the running back position with the volume, right? Especially with all the mouths to feed out there in Houston. Brian Robinson for Josh Downs. This is the one that I love Josh Downs. I think Josh Downs could be very good. This is pretty even to me, in my opinion. I probably lean Josh because he's a wide receiver. But if you need a running back and Josh Downs is your wide receiver 5, 6, 7, that's a deal that I don't mind making there. Brian Robinson for Jerome Ford in the third, and Brian Robinson for Chase Brown. I have more faith that Brian Robinson has upside there. I think Brian Robinson down the stretch of the season is a guy you can plug in, and he could be a very solid running back 2 for you that could give possibly running back 1 in this offense there. I think the biggest question mark with Washington is not really Eckler. It's their offensive line. How well does that gel? I think that's the concern that you would have from an asset perspective there. Now, wide receiver, I think you should probably go out there and target Mike Evans. You know what? When you looking at this, he was wide receiver 7 last year in PPR scoring, right? He had 1,000 yards. But, man, I know he's 31. I know Dynasty managers love young guys. They're going after him. They're going to tap there. But, man, he could be a top 20 wide receiver again, right? And when you're looking at who he's going around and some of the value out there, I think you're going to agree he's going to get targets. I'm not I've never been a huge Godwin fan. I think he's fine. I know he's going back in a slot in this offense. Mike Evans is going to be out there. He had 136 targets last year, guys. That stuff's not going away in this offense. And I think that if you're a veteran, if you're a contending team, there's a lot of guys in that wide receiver 35-ish mark and lower where you're like, hey, I'll go take a shot on Mike Evans. I mean, look at his values. Let's talk about it here. Mike Evans for Pacheco in a 4th, right? And I know Pacheco's getting a lot of love out there. He's getting like top 12 buzz out there from his position at the running back spot. But, man, if Pacheco's my running back 4 and I need help with the wide receiver position, I get going after Mike Evans because both are perceptions value drop. But Pacheco is a sprained ankle away from being irrelevant for probably the rest of his dynasty career, right? And how hard he runs. Evans doesn't have that. I think Evans is going to be relevant for the next 2 years. Evans for Corley and McMillan. Smash Evans side there. Evans for Zeke and Kamara. Again, I like the Evans side on that side. Evans for Jordan Addison. This is a classic rebuilding and contending. I like it for both sides here, to be clear, but I do love getting at Mike Evans for Jordan Addison at this point. If you're a contender and you're going for it, you can't really rely on Jordan Addison this season. Then Evans for Connor in a 2nd. Again, you're kind of capitalizing on that. You give him up that 2nd, which can be valuable there, but I think this is a fair trade, and this is a trade I would do. And Evans for just a straight-up 2nd. I think if I can get Mike Evans for a straight-up 2nd, and I'm a real true contender, I'm going to look for the repeat or that top 3 finish. Man, that's kind of a value that I like, and that's a value that I would probably do moving forward when you're looking at it. Now, at the tight end spot, let's get it into this Pat Freiermuth. I am telling you right now, I have never been a big, Freiermuth guy. I've never been one of those guys that's the truther, and we see that. But, man, Roman Wilson just got injured in training camp. Who's their wide receiver 2, right? And I think that when you're looking at Arthur Smith I know that when you look at like Pitts, he didn't utilize him well. To utilize though Jonnu Smith. And I think that Freiermuth has that more in terms of like red zone targets. I think that he can lead the team in red zone targets possibly. They have Pickens. But, man, whether it's Wilson or whether it's Fields, I think Freiermuth can really step up. Look what Fields did with Cole Kmet. Look at what, Wilson has done with his tight ends. You've seen the production there. He could be that safety blanket. And if you're looking for a cheaper tight end that's outside the top 12 in Dynasty, that could be a tight end 2 or wide receiver 2 on their roster, Freiermuth fits that bill, right? And I know he was injured and he's banged up, and I get that. But, man, he kind of fits that. And when you look at the prices, I mean, I think that he's a value there, right? Freiermuth for Mike Williams in a 2nd. Yeah, that's pretty fair. But Mike Williams, what is he moving forward with the injuries, right? And we know that he's always going to get injured there. So a 2nd is probably a fair price there. Pat Freiermuth for Ben Sinnott. I would rather have Freiermuth in that deal. Freiermuth for Jalen Polk in a 3rd. I like Polk. I've been a big fan of Polk for a long time. Last year at the Devy route, we talked about him in the Discord as being a sleeper of ours. But I still probably lean Freiermuth in terms of value there. Freiermuth for Cole Kmet. Give me Freiermuth all day. Freiermuth for Mike Williams. Again, if I can just get him for straight up Mike Williams, I would do that deal. And then Freiermuth for Jameson Williams. Again, Jameson Williams is the guy I've been holding on to. There was a tweet that says, have you ever held on to something for 3 years and realized it was not worth anything? And I said, maybe. We're going to see how Jameson Williams does because that's how long I've been holding on to a couple of shares of his. But if I can move Freiermuth and Jameson Williams is now my wide receiver 6, 7-ish in that range, and you need that tight end help, Freiermuth is a guy that I would definitely go target. So those are 4 players out there that you could definitely trade for in Dynasty Leagues that I think that for any different reasons, whether you're a contender or rebuilder, that they hold value. The other guy that I want to mention was Drake May. He's the training camp buzz is out there. Milton's having a better camp than him, all this stuff. You hear the noise there. He's probably not going to start. Drake May is a perfect target to go get right now. I didn't add him to the list, but after hearing all the rumors, go draft Drake May. Or trade for him. His keep trade cut right now, I think is QB 19-ish. I've seen it as low as 22 on some people's rankings there from a dynasty perspective. If he's getting valued at that, which again, he might not be based on where he got taken in your rookie draft. But if people are waiting on him a little bit, Drake May is another one that I would definitely go out there and see what the market is and go test it. So Appreciate you guys tuning in, looking at some Dynasty buys for it with me. Let me know in the comments. Let me know some trades that you wanted me to kind of look at. I will go over them. I will talk them out with you. Think about joining the Patreon. It's really cheap. Go check it out. We do Dynasty and Devy content, not just Devy. So let us know what you think. Hit that comment. Let us know. Would you be buying these guys? Would you be selling? Until next time, I'll see you guys later.